So making $1 million is actually easier than you think. In order for you to make $1 million a year, that means you're making $83,333.33 a month, or $19,230.76 a week, $2,739.72 a day, and $114.50 an hour, assuming that you're working 24 hours a day. So what exactly qualifies me to talk about making $1 million in your business? Well, in July of 2020, amid all of the craziness going on, my juice bar franchises did over $96,034.08 in sales. And then in August, we dipped down a little bit and we wound up doing over $91,394.79 in sales. And then in September of 2020, my location that I owned in California had a record month since we had been open in over 3 years, and that I wind up selling the location and being able to cash in. And I almost took some of that money and bought a Ferrari, which is one of my dream cars. And then I realized how stupid of a financial decision that would actually be. I created this whole video on why I didn't buy the Ferrari and actually what I wound up doing with that money instead. So if you're interested in that video, make sure to check it out. Okay, now all of that sounded really braggy, and for those of you who are new here, I promise you that is not my style at all. But now that I've grabbed your attention, my name is Tariq Johnson. I built a multi-million-dollar franchise business, owning locations on the opposite sides of the country. I owned a location in California and in Florida. All right, in this video, I'm gonna show you how to make $1 million owning a business. I'm also gonna talk about why making $1 million potentially really is not that much money at all. And a key part of that is the difference between making $1 million and profiting $1 million, which are two different things. I'm gonna tell you more about that in this video, so make sure you stick around. All right, so let's talk about those numbers again. So in order to make $1 million a year in a business, that means you need to make $83,333.33 a month. Now, depending upon your point of reference, that might sound like a lot, that might sound like a little bit. No matter what, the numbers are the numbers. So let's talk about this in two different ways. We're gonna talk about the strategy, the actual planning and tactical execution of how to create $1 million business. Then we're gonna talk about the mindset of what it takes to actually create a $1 million a year business. Because if you think about it, just having the strategy alone, the what to do and how to do it, well, the strategy is out there online, but most of us don't actually do it. So it's very key to talk about the mindset part, but let's talk about the strategy part right now. By the way, if you want the shortcut to all of this in like a really clear documented way, I explain all of this in my free 7-step blueprint to business profits in 60 days. It's a 28-page PDF that walks you through step by step how you can create any profitable business in any industry at any time. We've already had over 800 people who have downloaded it, and you can grab it at my website, tariqjohnson.com. I will leave a link in the description below. All right, so we're gonna talk about 4 different components that you must have in order to build a $1 million business. So the first one is you need to have a product or service to sell. You need to have, number 2, a target market or people to sell to. Number 3 is you need a sales and marketing strategy. So how are you gonna sell to those people you chose? And then number 4 is you need to have a way to actually deliver on that product or service, otherwise known as your operations. So let's talk about very quickly each of those parts. Okay, so in thinking about the product or service, we'll use a couple of different examples. The product or service could be, I just had my food delivered today, meals for the week. So in that case, the product is food. That's what's being delivered. Another one is this morning there were landscapers out there mowing the lawn. So if you think about a service, you have a landscaping service. So if we wanted to create a business, we said, okay, we got 2 different things that we could do. We can do meal planning and actual creating food for people, or we could provide a service of mowing lawns. So that's the product or the service that we're looking to sell. Then number 2 is you need to have a target market of who you're selling your product or service to. Now, I don't want to get too in the weeds here, but in business, there's the term, the riches are in the niches. it's very powerful in business to be very clear on who your target market is and creating like a little client profile of the person that you're looking to attract. So as an example, if we're looking at the food company where we're doing meal prep, a very generalized version of target market is I am targeting people that are ages 30 to 50 years of age. They work out at least twice a week and they're looking to get in better shape, right? So now that you have overall that avatar of what you want your customer to look like, now you can start to think about what are the problems they face, how do you solve that problem, how do you communicate to them, what are their fears, their pain points, and you can go deeper and deeper. But overall, you just want to understand where those people are. So just by saying, hey, they work out about two or three times a week, well, we know that we can find those people at the gym. We can target them there, right? We know that if they're looking to get into better shape, they might be eating healthier in the grocery store or watching different videos about eating healthy and diets and workout plans and different things like that. So we know where they're spending their time. On the landscaping side of things, you might say, okay, I'm targeting homeowners who reside in this zip code, and you choose 3 different zip codes of homeowners that you're going to target. So now that we know who our customer is, we know what our product or service is, we know who our customer is and who we're targeting, then you got to come up with a sales and marketing strategy. So your sales and marketing strategy is how you actually get the word out about your business, about your product or service, and then you start actually generating sales. Because here's the thing, the best product on earth means nothing if you don't sell it. And sometimes a lot of people waste a lot of time creating a really good product and then just expecting that they're going to have customers. It doesn't happen. You know, I've owned franchise locations. Some people expect that with franchises. You open your door and then boom, all of a sudden customers show up. No. That doesn't happen. So for me, running my franchise businesses, we did mailers. I mean, we spent tens of thousands of dollars on mailers. I spent thousands of dollars on Facebook and Instagram ads. So there's a lot of different ways that you can market to your customers. If you have the landscaping business as an example, you can go out and put flyers on people's cars at shopping centers. You can go put flyers on their doors. You can run ads on social media, right? Advertising your services, telling about your company and what you do, or just showing beautiful images of lawns as a way to capture people's attention. Make sure to be creative, right? There are the traditional marketing strategies and ways, and then there are ways to think a little bit outside of the box and really get a big return on your investment when it comes to your marketing dollars. So another way for a landscaping company to generate clients could be sending out mailers. But here's another more creative way. Every time you get a customer, a landscaping customer, then you knock on the 5 doors to the left and the 5 doors to the right and say, hey, I'm in the area about to mow this person's lawn. I just wanted to see if you wanted me to mow your lawn while I was at it. It's only $35. I see that it needs to be mowed and it'll be really quick. And so that could be a way to easily pick up clients and maximize your efforts. All right, so number 4 is you need to be able to actually deliver that product or service. When I say deliver it, I don't literally mean physically deliver it. In the example of the meal prep company, then yes, maybe you want to actually deliver it. Our food got delivered today, but this company also has locations where we can actually go pick up the food ourselves. But how are you actually producing that product or service? So if we think about the landscaping company, in order to mow lawns, you need a lawnmower, right? You need someone to man the lawnmower and actually be the person pushing the lawnmower. You need to transport the lawnmower. So you got to think about how are you delivering that product or service, otherwise known as your operations of your business. So, okay, I got to go out and buy a lawnmower to be able to mow these people's lawns. How much does that cost me? I got to hire someone who can actually spend the day mowing the lawns, unless you want to do it on your own in the beginning to start getting some money coming in. The key part is not to overthink this part of the business. You do want to make the business run as efficiently as possible, but you also want to make sure to get started so you got momentum going. Don't overthink it. It can look sloppy and ugly in the beginning. Just get the ball rolling, and as you do, you'll learn to be able to tweak things and make it better as you go along. And then I snuck in a bonus. Number 5 is customer service. So once you have those customers, you got to be able to actually support those customers. So there's administrative work like billing and handling phone calls and emails. I mean, if you're out there mowing the lawns every day and getting customers, it's also hard to do all of the administrative side as well. So you need to plan around those 5 parts to your business. Again, number 1 being the product or service, number 2 being the target market, number 3 being your sales and marketing strategy, number 4 being your operations and the way that you deliver your product or service, and then number 5 is your customer service, which is your administrative work and how are you supporting your customers that are paying you to do business. Now, this is where I'm going to remind you that making $1 million in a business is not the same as keeping $1 million in a business. And again, we're going to dive into that. I'm going to talk about that in just a little bit because we're transitioning here to the numbers. Let's talk about the numbers of what it takes to create a business that's generating $1 million. So once you know the numbers or you just play around with a couple of numbers, then you can actually reverse engineer and figure out how to actually create that in your business and the actual roadmap to do it. Again, this is something that I talk about in my free 7-step blueprint to business profits in 60 days. So make sure that you get it. Again, the link is in the description below, but I walk you through exactly how to build out some financial projections for your business. And this is so critical. This is such an important piece of the puzzle. But as an example, in the beginning of the video, I told you about how I had my juice bars doing about $95,000 or $96,000 a month in sales. Well, let's say that the goal is just that $83,333 a month in order to build a 7-figure, $1 million a year business. Well, if I know that my customers are spending $15 on average in one transaction, then that means that I need to get 5,555 customers in 1 month. If you divide that by 30, then that means that I need to get 185 customers a day. So 185 customers a day to pay $15 each, and then I'll generate $1 million business as long as I can do that day in and day out. Now look, I know, easier said than done. I'm showing you the formula. How do you create the business? The mindset part will be how you actually go and follow through on the creation of that business. But you have to have the template and the strategy first. And by no means is all of this very easy. It can be simple, but it's not necessarily easy. So if I think about, well, how do I get 185 customers a day to pay $15 each? That's when you start to look at your sales and marketing strategy and plan. What can I do that will generate more and more customers for my business? I can send out mailers, I can do flyers, I can go hand out samples, I can put someone in a costume on the road and wave at people to try to generate traffic. I can create ads on social media, I can go to different local community events, I could host virtual events for my customers. So there's all sorts of different ways that you can do that. Now, if you said, hey, I want to create a business where I have 1,000 customers that are paying $83 a month. Great. How can you create a business where you have 1,000 people paying you $83 a month? Maybe the landscaping company is a great example of that. So maybe you come once a week and mow their lawn once every week and you pay $83 a month for that. You get 1,000 clients, you got a $1 million a year business. My wife and I were paying, I think, $180 a month for a landscaping company to come mow every week, as well as lay down fertilizer and trim the shrubs and all sorts of different things. So there are companies out there that are doing this. Question is, how can you benefit from it? How can you do it yourself to create a $1 million business, but with the skill sets that you currently have? So let's talk about that. So we talked about what it takes to create $1 million business. You know that you have to have a strategy. You know that within that strategy and that plan that you have to have a product or service, and you got to go out there and market the product or service and get customers. And then you know that you have to know your numbers, right? So in order to hit and accomplish $1 million a year business, you got to know what your price points are and how many customers you need to get. And then you got to start to think about, okay, what are your skill sets? What are your skill sets that you can utilize in order to create this business? That's always the easiest place to start, is what you know now, what your current skill sets are, or you can go learn a new skill. As an example, are you really good with dogs? Could you create a business where you do dog training? Maybe you provide a monthly service where people come together in groups and you provide training and they pay, let's say, a monthly fee for that, or they pay one time. That's an example of a way to use your skill set. We already talked about mowing lawns. I mean, you could find pretty quickly how to mow a lawn, and generally most people know how to mow a lawn. That's another example, and the food planning, the meal planning company that I talked about is another great example. Maybe you're passionate about health and fitness, and maybe a meal planning company makes a lot of sense. So align what your skill sets are with your business. That's the easiest way to start generating money right away. So now let's transition to a part that is probably the most important part, which is profit. So this is what I was talking about when I was saying making $1 million and profiting and keeping $1 million are two totally different things. So as an example, I told you about my juice bar business, right? But a food business and that sort of business, generally profit margins are somewhere between 10% and 20%. So if my business is generating $1 million in sales, making $1 million, well then my business is actually profiting between $100,000 to $200,000 a year. And so when you see all of these statements and things about I'm making this amount of money, that doesn't mean that's actually what you're profiting. Now that's not to negate that creating $1 million business and generating $1 million in sales is a huge deal. There's only a small percentage of businesses that actually generate over $1 million in sales. So that is something to really applaud yourself for and be excited about. But the reality is there are $1 million a year businesses, 7-figure businesses that are only break even. Or there are 7-figure businesses that only generate $50,000 a year in profit. There are 7-figure businesses that are losing money, right? So they're generating over $1 million in sales, but they're spending more than $1 million a year in expenses. So it's possible to be making $1 million, generating $1 million in sales in your business and not making any money at all. So I want to make sure to make that distinction. When you're planning to create this $1 million a year business, you need to know two very important things. Number one is how much sales do you want to make? Number two is how much profit do you want to make? So maybe you want to build $1 million business and you want a 30% profit margin. You want to be able to make $300,000 a year in profit in that business. Now at that point, it depends on, are you paying yourself out of your profit or are you also paying yourself as a salary? I don't want to get too in the weeds on this video, but make sure you subscribe because these are the type of things that I talk about and how to set yourself up for success in planning. Do I put myself on salary? Do I just pay myself out of the profit? That's where having really good tax professionals help, but those are also some of the things that we cover on this channel, so make sure that you subscribe. So let's talk about the last part to creating $1 million a year business. It's the mindset. It's the psychology aspect of the business. Because again, we talked about you could have the best strategy, the best plan on earth, but if you don't actually implement it, then it means nothing. If the first time someone tells you no or you fail, you give up, then you're not going to be able to create your business. So this is why the psychology part is actually the most important. And it's why people that are very successful in business, a lot of the times they don't have the most skills. They actually don't have the most knowledge. They're just the best at taking action and being resilient. So here are 3 psychology attitudes that you must live by and embody in order to create your successful $1 million a year business. Number 1 is you have to be resourceful. When I say that you have to be resourceful is you've got to figure out a way to make it happen with what you have. When this idea doesn't work, what idea will? And if that doesn't work, what idea will? You have the mindset that you'll go over, you'll go under, you'll go around, you'll go through, you'll dig a hole underneath, you'll smash right through it. You have the mindset that you'll do whatever it takes to figure out how to succeed in your business. That's being resourceful. Then number 2 is that you have to be decisive and take action. Again, you could have the best plan in the world, But if you don't do anything with that plan, if you don't implement that plan, then it means nothing. So you've got to be able to make decisions quickly, because if you wait too long to make the decision, you could miss out on the opportunity. And then you've got to be able to take action and implement it right away. Number 3 is you got to be resilient. So you're going to have a plan, you're going to be taking action, you're going to be resourceful. There's going to be times where things just do not work and you fail and you fall flat on your face and it sucks. You could lose money, you could be embarrassed. I mean, there's a lot of things that can happen. That's where you got to be resilient. You got to have that mindset that it doesn't matter how many times I fail, doesn't matter how many times I fall down, I'm always going to figure out a way to get back up and give it another shot and keep trying and keep trying and keep trying. So guys, make sure to go and grab my free 7-step blueprint to business profits in 60 days. Subscribe down below, hit the like button for the YouTube algorithm. I hope you got value out of this video. Drop me a comment below and let me know what you're excited about in business and what some of your business goals are. What's your $1 million idea? Drop the comment below and let me know, and I'll see you on the next one.